Welcome back, folks. This is George Paul from Cherished Keepsakes here with part 3 of my AI experiment with Photoshop. As you can see, it didn't go too well the first time I tried to use one of the new features, which is a generative fill. I might end up going to my pro community that I'm a part of, which is other business professionals and within the creative community, get some thoughts from them on how to better do it, and maybe come back to you with some results if I can do it better, and I'll share my results with you. So I'm continuing on with this, which is now at this point, which is just our normal order filling process. Most of the time, this is where you spend most of your time with the photos. Dropping in the content is actually rather quick and easy, as you will see. Let's go like 10-point type. Date of birth, date of passing. So let's do sunrise, sunset. And we're gonna line it up. We did center it. Realistically, if I'm thinking about this again, but I'm not gonna change it, it would have been easier if everything was right justified, where everything was aligned here, create a nice rag and a nice shape to go complement the shape of his face. That would have made this much easier, because then I could have just did right rag and then I would have had a little room to play with, but it's a little too late now. What I can do is cheat a little bit and make this small caps, decrease the point size just a hair. By making them small caps, that gives me the ability to decrease the leading of the line spacing between this line and this line, because there's no descenders. Even though you have small caps, it doesn't go down so much. And then to help with legibility, increase the kerning, and that should allow me to get away with this. And then I can also move him up, move it out and up just a hair to give it a little more room. Okay, so let's continue on with laying everything out. Acknowledgements. Let's actually just copy that word, since it's not here, and this one says in appreciation. And we are doing a QR code. Okay. And did they want a poem in this? Stanley Mendez. No, they did not. But they might have. Did they provide one in here? I thought there was a poem. I'll have to keep looking. So let's put the interment. And then I'll have to get the credit line for the firm afterwards. Let's make this all in type size. Okay, let's get to that order of service. Thought there was a lot of photos. Oh, that's not the order of service. There we go. Just as a heads up, folks who are watching, when you send over orders, even to us, you don't actually have to add all of these dots, which is actually called leader. You don't have to do all that. You could just put like 3 dots. That actually makes formatting a much quicker, and you can get your proofs back faster. You could just put 3 dots here. We already know that that's what you want us to do, because this takes longer for us to format when you add all of these dots. Not too big of a deal. It's not like it's going to be the end of the world if we still get it that way, because we still do. But, you know, just like G.I. Joe, now you know, knowing is half the battle. Obituary. Almost there. Now to bring this back in within the margins. This should be all the way in the back. Okay. Now let's drop in his obituary. And this was 1960 to 2023. Okay, now fill the space. Go down 1 type size. Now let's open up the drop cap. And make that just a bit larger. And get his name. Okay. Now we don't need this. We don't need that. And I'll tell you why in a moment, because I'm about to do it. Let's see. Next is, we'll be dropping in the pictures in a moment. All I want is this, because that has the shadow effect. He was an Oakland Raiders fan, so that's why I said we don't need that background image. And I want to drop in the Oakland Raiders logo. And that's why they picked the Dashing Black Label Silver collection. Is this the newest logo? Curious. No, it's... So it looks like it's still the same. Okay. So that was someone proposing what it should look like. Yeah, that'd be too much for NFL. All right. So now that we have that, so we're going to do 2 things. We're going to drop it within his folder. also going to drop it so that we have it permanently within our filing system. Okay, so now, I'm going to drop in the logo. Of the Raiders. And where are you? Oh, it didn't go through. And there it is. So I want to put this somewhere over here because I don't need it just yet. What I'm thinking is one of two options. Since I have to do a huge collage of photos, I'd like to try to frame it within having 4 logos at each of the corners. We don't need this because that really doesn't fit with this anymore. If I had more room here, then I could put it here and then drop the logo right under it. But what I am going to do is have it fold over both sides here as a watermark. Okay, and just make this 20% and send it to the back. So that'll be a nice effect there. Okay, so now to the photos, which there are a lot of them. Now when it comes to placing photos, because sometimes families will send multiple photos of the same one. So we know these are the photos plus this one, and so those are the alternates which we already played with. Okay, so that's all of them. So I have about, as you can see, 32 photos that I got to play with in place. So doing it this way, I like to just drop them all in because then I can immediately, it's almost like a game of memory, see which ones are duplicates. And then I can delete them so I'm not placing doubles. Because what will sometimes end up happening is if we do accidentally place a duplicate, we don't catch it, the family doesn't catch it. They can, sometimes they might get upset. It depends on the family. Sometimes they might get upset. Sometimes they'll be fine with it. But ultimately, it's basically, as you can see here, there's a duplicate. It's another picture that could have been put in to help honor his life. But because we weren't diligent enough to spot the duplicate, we weren't able to do that. Is it the end of the day? No. But, let's just do our job. So 20 more to go. And what I like to do is if I see a duplicate, then I will sometimes either place it like right under it or I'll place it over it so I know to delete it, and then I know what I'm dealing with, how many photos. And plus it also allows me to see what empty space so I can fit more. As you can see, empty space there. Because all it really matters is just seeing the loved one within that image or what's really going on. And that allows me to actually fit more photos, because really this is really the picture for that one. We don't need all the people in the background. is that a duplicate? No. Okay. Okay. So now we have them all. First and foremost, let's delete the duplicate. And this process takes a little bit. So I'm making a bunch of duplicates of the white background to create the Polaroid picture effect. Need like 30 something of them, so I'm just making as many copies as I need. Okay, let's just start here. So the idea is to just center it within the photo. Where's the align? Align, there we go. Normally it's up here. Then group and move over. Next. Group, then move. It's probably a little too wide. There we go, much better. Wedding pictures, you definitely want to give a little more emphasis to. So I'm going to make that larger now. Family photos like that. You also want to make larger, more emphasis. So we're going to make that one large too. And one thing that's very important, don't forget to continue to save as you go. It's a quick button that you press. If you're on a Mac, it's Command plus S, which is just save. Keyboard shortcuts definitely help to decrease how much time you're spending doing stuff. But it's all, you don't want to get really far into something and then your computer crash and you have to spend all that time doing it over. So there's no autosave feature for Adobe, so just save it. Command S and you're done. Let's also make that one a little large. And then we're going to do one more and start laying out so we can see what space we have to work with, what we have left, and how we have to adjust the collage that we're about to make. Okay. And the idea when I'm doing these collages is to make sure that there's an overlap on the pictures, slightly overlapping the other, so it kind of looks like it's a pile, but an organized pile. And when there's a slight gap, you can always just enlarge one of the photos. Okay, we still have a bunch more to fit in. Let's take these three, make them a little larger. I'd rather see this one. Fill this space. Perfect. And we can use them on what may be their honeymoon. And then fill this with a landscape style. Okay, so now getting back to what we got going on here. Just keep dropping these in and making our Polaroids. Oh, that's happening soon. Sales training. I should be able to be finished with this proof before that starts up. Almost finished. That's an important picture. Are we missing anything from this? Okay, no. Sometimes when you place a photo into InDesign, it doesn't always place the whole thing so you can see it in its entirety. Sometimes it does kind of crop it, and then you could be missing something vital from the photo. So when it comes to that, and if you want to check, a good way to check is just to click when you see that target, and you can see it's all there. These two seem to be important photos because it's during his daughter's wedding. So let's give those some precedence. And we'll see where to fill this one in and keep going. And the last one. Okay. So now let's move this over. I'm going to play with this a little bit. So this is good here, and that's good there. Okay. And there it is. Now we can drop this in. Too many people get cut off there. So let's drop that in and move it to the back. Rotate it a tad. Baby picture or youth. Let's put father, daughter, or that might be wife. I could be wrong, forgive me. This one is not centered. Now it is. Okay, almost done. What was I missing here? Is there anything missing? No, okay. Let's move that in, move that in. So it's within the margins. We don't need all this space. This might lend itself here. Okay, that works. And lastly, then we can make this one smaller and fit him here. So since I cannot fit the Raiders logo here, I'm going to put it here. And let's make it smaller. I'm going to make it, put like 3 across. 13. Okay. So now the last thing is to add the firm information and their logo. Let's do that. And firm logo. And then I'll actually typeset the information, because all I really want, well, actually no, I could just leave this as is and make it larger. Because it looks like this whole thing is their logo. And then I still have room for the QR code. Okay, so that was everything. This is just about ready for proof. And so I appreciate you following this process. As you can see, it's a little bit, takes a little bit of time to do when you're doing programs that have a lot of pictures, which is why you should just send it to us instead of doing it in-house. But nonetheless, if you find this helpful, then I'm glad to be of service to you, and definitely give us a like and a follow. Appreciate it, and wishing you the best, honoring the legacies in your care. All right.